After his notorious slap at the Oscars in March 2022, Will Smith is back on the big screen. He now considers how the uproar from last night might impact the December premiere of his new movie Emancipation. We'll also speak about Chris Rock's reaction and what was going through his head when he smacked him. So let's dive in. First off, let's go back in time and revisit the infamous night.
I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of him.
In the middle of the Oscar ceremony in March 2022, Chris Rock was on stage about to introduce the next category of awards. While presenting the award for Best Documentary, Chris Rock poked fun at Will Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith. He joked about her shaved head and how she might be in the next G.I. Joe or Jane. Yeah, this sounds like the kind of joke that shouldn't be made too casually in public. Also, at the beginning of the joke, Will Smith was seen chuckling lightly, but when he looked at his wife's expression, that was when the tables had turned. Whatever Chris Rock's reason was, he made the controversial statement and brushed the matter aside. But what he didn't notice at first was the angry Will Smith staring back at him. Enraged, Will Smith got up from his seat, walked towards Chris Rock, and slapped him across the face.
I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of him.
Moving on, the slap that shook the internet. The audience was stunned, and everyone who had tuned in to watch the live ceremony was also shocked. It wasn't over yet. When Will Smith was walking back to his seat, he yelled at Chris to keep his wife out of his jokes. It wasn't long after that moment that Will Smith was awarded the Oscar for Best Actor for King Richard, and he apologized to Chris Rock and the audience for his actions. During his speech, he was in tears, but the controversy continued, as many people got offended by Smith's actions. Soon, the whole night was overshadowed by that infamous moment, and there was talk of banning Will Smith for the rest of the ceremony. As a result of the slap, Will Smith is banned from the Oscars for 10 years while also resigning from the Academy himself. Following up, Will Smith is promoting his new film after the events of the Oscars.
The Lord is with us. What can a mere man do to me?
Will Smith made his first late-night television appearance since the Oscars on The Daily Show with Trevor Noah to promote his new movie Emancipation. The elephant in the room was discussed when Trevor Noah asked Will Smith about his state of mind when he hit Chris Rock that night. Smith himself admitted that it was a horrific night and that his actions were unacceptable. Months after the incident, Smith has been busy promoting Emancipation, and he hopes that the film would be successful, even though he admits that he would understand if audiences didn't want to see it. In his statement to Good Day DC, he said that he would completely understand if people didn't come and watch his new film and would respect their decision. He hopes that his team isn't punished for his actions and that audiences give credit to the rest of their team that made Emancipation possible. He wants to convey to the people that the artists involved in this film are not left isolated because of his controversial actions. It's also important for him that the power of film moves people's hearts. The aftermath of the incident saw multiple projects for Will Smith dropped or postponed because Hollywood didn't want to be involved in the controversy. Many well-known actors and peers have also voiced their anger at Smith for his actions at the Oscars. Next up, let's talk about Emancipation and the possible backlash. Emancipation is being released on Apple TV+. The film sees Will Smith as an enslaved man who escapes from a Louisiana plantation in the 1860s, and the character makes his way to the Union Army after a treacherous and difficult journey. It's a historical thriller with an incredible storyline and plot, but the issue remains, will audiences accept Will Smith as the star of this movie after his controversial slap? Although the hype has somewhat died after March 2022, director Antoine Fuqua is skeptical about the possible backlash. Fuqua explains that Emancipation is the type of film that would most likely get Oscar nominations if it weren't for the slap that happened that night. Let's just hope that whatever happens, another controversy isn't started. Not to mention, Will Smith said he was going through something when he hit Chris Rock. When Will Smith appeared on The Daily Show with Trevor Noah, he was asked what was going through his mind when that moment occurred at the Oscars. Smith said it was a horrific night for everyone who witnessed the incident, especially Chris Rock. Will Smith added that he feels that there are a lot of nuances and complexities around us, and we can never know what another person is going through at any moment. For that night in particular, Smith referenced his troubled childhood and described his behavior at that moment as someone he didn't want to be at all. He further explained that there was a time when he, as a little boy, would watch his father beat his mother, and all of the rages had just bubbled at that moment. He reflects on the incident and how it impacted his own family too. He recalled, "It was like my nephew is 9, and he is the sweetest little boy. He's like, we came home and it's like he had stayed up late to see his Uncle Will, and we are sitting in my kitchen and he is on my lap and he is holding the Oscar and he is just like, why did you hit that man, Uncle Will? After the negative outcome of the incident, the 54-year-old star urges people to be kind to one another even in difficult times. He has taken serious note of his actions and he hopes people can learn a valuable lesson from the incident. What's more, here's what Will Smith and Chris Rock have said about that famous night. As we already mentioned, Will Smith issued an apology to Chris Rock after he slapped him on stage at the Oscars. But what did both of them say regarding the incident? Since then, Will Smith has continually issued multiple apologies across social media, including during the awards, even though he's been banned now. The moment has indeed damaged the reputation of the celebrated actor and the Oscars. The awards rating has dropped to an all-time low this year. Whether it's because of the slap or because the Oscars have become obsolete, one can't deny that this is the highest moment of controversy in the award show's history. Will Smith has called his actions intolerable and unjustifiable. He specifically mentioned that slapping Chris Rock was inappropriate when he apologized to him. Chris Rock has kept a low profile ever since the incident, waiting a while before speaking about the contentious situation. Chris Rock hadn't initially responded that night, but shortly after, on a comedy show in Boston, Rock finally addressed the incident. Chris Rock added that he was still processing what happened that night and that he would talk about it at some point. Chris Rock's reluctance to talk about the issue came off as his way of distancing himself from the drama. Even though he didn't announce his stance on social media, he simply clarified that he wasn't ready to talk about it at that stage.
From me, and then I'm feeling dumb. I'm like, okay, I gotta find some people as dumb as me. Like, I gotta find my intelligence. So I'm like, okay, where the athletes at, right?
And continued with his career as planned. Last but not least, here's what Chris Rock finally had to say about the incident. Now that the backlash has calmed down, Chris Rock has been addressing the controversial moment more openly. During his stand-up comedy shows that he's been doing across the United States, he has talked about the incident and even joked about it. Chris Rock has referred to Will Smith as Suge Smith during one of his shows, and he has joked that anyone who has said words hurt has never been punched in the face. Where people were expecting Chris Rock to feel publicly humiliated or embarrassed, he's been clarifying the event and keeping it light. He continued by saying that since the incident had already generated a lot of attention and drama, there was no need for further controversy. Chris has maintained his composure and laid-back demeanor even when hecklers tried to disrupt one of his stand-up performances. The comedians repeatedly explained that he wished to leave that incident in the past, and he has since shaken off the events and doesn't prefer to wallow in any sort of despair that the media is trying to add. We hope the drama goes down with time and both actors can finally emerge from the chaos. We've had enough drama in 2022.
Change up.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth!
I'm going to, okay? Okay. That was
That's a wrap for this video. So, what do you think about the infamous slap? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you at the next one.